Days of Our Lives spoilers. Jennifer gives Thomas bad news while Stephanie, Alex, and Steve brainstorm ideas. The hallways of the Salem Spectator are usually filled with the frantic but focused energy of a working newsroom. Today, however, the air crackles with a different kind of electricity, one of profound personal tension and, paradoxically, unleashed creative genius. In a series of interconnected events that only Salem can produce, a piece of devastating news becomes the unlikely catalyst for a business revolution, proving that even in the darkest moments, innovation can bloom. The epicenter of the emotional quake is Jennifer Horton Devereaux's office. The ever-compassionate journalist has always been a pillar of strength, but the weight of her current task is visible in her weary eyes. Sitting across from her is Thomas "Tommy" Carrington, the young, ambitious photographer whose recent work has begun to define the Spectator's modern visual identity. Jennifer's voice is gentle but unwavering as she delivers the news. The long-planned, career-making photo exhibition he's been curating for months, a retrospective of Salem's forgotten histories, has lost its primary gallery funding. The exhibit is, for all intents and purposes, shelved indefinitely. Tommy's face, usually alight with creative fire, goes ashen. This wasn't just a project. It was a love letter to the town, a chance to cement his place, not just as a Horton by association, but as an artist in his own right. The funding, it just fell through. The board decided to go in a different direction, Jennifer explains, her heart breaking for him. She promises to fight, to look for other avenues, but the initial blow is crushing. Tommy leaves the office not with anger, but with a hollow silence that is far more deafening. His creative spirit, so vibrant just hours before, feels scattered and dismissed. Little does he know, his personal disappointment is about to indirectly fuel a different kind of fire across town. That fire is burning brightly at the sleek, modern offices of Basic Black. In a glass-walled conference room, three unlikely collaborators are deep in a brainstorming maelstrom. Stephanie Johnson, the digital strategist with her finger perpetually on the pulse of trends, is pacing, her ideas flowing faster than she can articulate them. It's not just about selling cosmetics or fashion lines anymore, she insists, tapping a complex market analysis graph on a monitor. It's about narrative. It's about experience. Leaning against the window, arms crossed with a mix of skepticism and intrigue, is Alex Kyriakis. The corporate raider turned reluctant heir is learning that true business isn't just about hostile takeovers. It's about building something. So you're saying we abandon traditional ad campaigns entirely? That's a multi-million-dollar risk, Steph. It's not abandonment, it's evolution, shoots back Chad Mera, who has joined the session, his own business acumen sharpened by years in the family dynasty's wars. But the true anchor in the room is Steve "Patch" Johnson. With his keen eye peering out from under his iconic eye patch, he listens. His mind, trained in covert ops and seeing patterns others miss, works differently. The kid's got a point about experience, he grumbles, surprising them all. Back in my, let's just say, freelancing days, the best intel came from immersing in the story. Why should marketing be any different? Stephanie seizes on this. Exactly. Imagine if, instead of another 30-second commercial, we created an immersive pop-up. Not just a store, but a story, a mystery, a romance, tied to a product launch. We make the customer the protagonist. Alex's skepticism begins to thaw, replaced by a calculating gleam. Interactive. Limited time. FOMO-driven. The data on that is explosive. We could leverage the Spectator's platform for the build-up, create a cross-media event. The ideas begin to ricochet. Augmented reality mirrors in boutique windows that tell a character's story, a podcast series that unfolds a mystery with clues hidden in product, batches, a social media campaign that's less about influencers and more about user-generated content and community puzzles. Steve, drawing on a lifetime of crafting identities and missions, suggests a loyalty program that isn't about points, but about access to deeper layers of the narrative. You don't buy a perfume, he says, a rare smile touching his lips. You unlock a chapter. This is where the threads of Salem's tapestry begin to intertwine. As the team at Basic Black dreams of narratives and immersive experiences, a despondent Tommy wanders into Horton Town Square. He stares at the empty storefront that was to be his gallery, seeing not just a vacant space, but a void where his stories were supposed to live. His vision was always about immersing Salem in its own past, not through dry text, but through evocative, curated images that made history feel present. It was, at its core, the very experience Stephanie and the team are theorizing about. Meanwhile, Jennifer, guilt-ridden and determined, makes a call. She doesn't call another stuffy board member. She calls Stephanie. I need a creative solution, she says, explaining Tommy's plight. Stephanie listens, and her eyes widen. She turns to the brainstorming board, filled with words like immersive, narrative space, and cross-platform. Jen, what if the gallery isn't gone? What if it just transforms? Stephanie explains the nascent concept bubbling at Basic Black. What if Tommy's photo exhibit is the anchor, the central narrative for our first experimental pop-up? We provide the funding, the space, the tech. He provides the soul. We build an experience around his photos, soundscapes, interactive elements, maybe even tie a new, heritage-inspired Basic Black line to the themes. It's not a charity case. It's a partnership. Art meets commerce in a way that elevates both. The idea is revolutionary. It solves Tommy's crisis, fulfills Basic Black's need for an authentic, story-driven launch, and gives the spectator a groundbreaking business feature. When presented, Alex sees the numbers aligning with the creativity. Steve sees a solid mission and a chance to support family, both his daughter and the extended Horton clan. Chad sees a brilliant merger of dime-mera precision and innovative outreach. Back at the Spectator, Jennifer finds Tommy. This time, her news is not an ending, but a beginning. She tells him of the plan, of the immersive experience, of his art being the heartbeat of a major corporate venture. The hollow look in his eyes is replaced first by confusion, then by a dawning, incredulous spark. His vision wasn't rejected. It was being amplified on a scale he never imagined. In Salem, personal pain and corporate ambition are rarely separate. A heartbreak in a newsroom ignites a creative revolution in a boardroom. A young artist's disappointment becomes the missing piece for a team of brainstormers seeking authenticity. As Stephanie, Alex, and Steve refine their pitch, and as Tommy begins to re-envision his exhibit not for silent walls, but for a living, interactive space, one thing becomes clear. The future of business, storytelling, and even healing in Salem will be built not in isolation, but in these unexpected, collaborative symphonies of heart and mind. The bad news wasn't a full stop. It was merely the compelling inciting incident in Salem's next great story.